one thing I will have to do is do no comment. Right to the sprinkle. Well, that was only 3 minutes, so I guess it wasn't a lot of time to let people come in. Where'd that be, pal? I feel like it's actually behind me, but I feel like I want it to be. Look at that. I just got back to the screen. I've only been rolling a couple minutes, but I was giving it a bit of a head start. And we got someone here. Let me know how the lighting is for you, if you are okay with it or if you want it brighter. It's kind of cloudy and early morning here. And part of me is feeling like I'm staying a little sleepy having it this bright, but if I put on the light in this room, there's a light in the room in front of this room. That one won't make much difference. And if I put on this one, I feel like it might be too bright. But if you'd like me to, I will. There was somebody here for a few minutes there, and then they were like, is this how I'm talking about? Is light? Be in the light. Rock Crystal will not be all right. Because I think of that audition video where I learned about that other song. I'm going to start this off actually with a pre-topic, and then we can get into the stuff in the title too, and I'm happy to chat and visit with you. And yeah, like I said, let me know if you want this better. If I bring this a bit closer, that also is maybe a bit better, eh? So the first thing I want to start with is I'm a bit worried about our dog. He sleeps upstairs in the bedrooms with us, and he has a little crate cave thing he can go into, and he had been on the bed for a while. He came in the room just after he went into this crate cave thing that he liked, and we leave it open. And usually when G comes in the room, he'll come out and he'll cuddle and stuff like that. And he didn't. And G was hesitant and didn't reach in, but moved his water dish a little bit. He was growling a little bit. And then we both came downstairs. You know, G opened the door a couple of times and made some other sort of noise, like not vocally, but I can't, that I think, oh yeah, that he should recognize that and go downstairs. He didn't. And then he was extra calm last night. I mean, sometimes, like when we're having munchies before bed, he'll stand there and watch us, but sometimes he's noisy about it. And yeah, he just never came down. I was doing a couple of little things in the kitchen, which I would have thought he might have heard, because I have better hearing. Never came down. I ran up, reached in, and was able to get him out of the grate. I also was thinking about how we've had him. We almost lost him since we got him. He came with a collar that was. I don't know if it wasn't not adjustable because it was just a cheap little thing, or if we didn't know we had to adjust it when we first got him. We didn't. It looked about right. He's a very furry type of dog. Um, it's a very furry, yeah. And I was thinking about that too because I've had one dog that has had puppies, and I think especially the really furry ones, but probably all of them, I think they start to grow their fur maybe 2 or 3 weeks after being born. Um, Anywho, and he ran out on a road. It was just like I guess an intersection, and there wasn't anything coming the other way, and the other one noticed and came up slowly. I had a couple people briefly for like a couple seconds, for a few seconds, but and came up slowly. Said, "You all right there? You need help?" Um, and then he also got stuck under not long after we got him. Almost got, and then we haven't had any really issues since, but almost got stuck under our deck. He kind of the steps are open between the steps, and I think he got under there. But well, he was a lot smaller then. He also also wasn't as quick moving. I'm just trying to figure out where I put my water. Hmm. Well, I know where I put my coffee, but I had a cold water out and I had it over here by the couch and I don't see it now. I do see a water, and that might have to do. Anywho, and yeah, he got under there, but he didn't move very far, so we were somehow able to reach in, well, with our hands and arms and get him out. But no, so we've had him for about 3 or 4 years, which it almost doesn't feel like. And those two people just tuned in. Oh, but you left. Oh, I think I found it. It fell behind the couch cushion. This couch, I tell you, the cushions slide. It's annoying. um, I'm sure that well, maybe we should try. It's old too, but maybe we should try Velcro or plastic. Anyway, I want to say welcome to the person that just tuned in. Curious if you've been to the channel before, and if not, how you came across this. And yeah, welcome here. Anywho, so I was talking about our dog who we've had. I can't. I know we got him at 3 months old. Um, what I don't remember is if that was 3 or 4 years, almost 4 years ago. Either way, it kind of doesn't feel like either, but it's definitely three. Anywho, and so yeah, this morning, not only was he very slow to come downstairs until I went and got him, um, I happened to notice, and I think I noticed last night too, but then didn't really pay it any mind or whatever. He didn't eat his dinner last night, and he's barely drank any water. G would say, give it a little bit longer, it's not that unusual if it's just, once, whatever. I really got to move this cushion. I'm sorry. It's not the one I'm sitting on, but it's annoying. Anyway, um, uh, but yeah, then he came down, cuddled just fine and all that. Uh, and then I think, pretty quickly went to this blue chair over here. Sure, I'll show him because it's low lighting and that's sorry for the mess if you see it. I couldn't just rotate the camera because it's a laptop. Anywho, and sometimes he gets very vocal. Part of it's because he's trained us to give him a treat when I'm on the phone talking or doing a podcast. So normally when I'd start rolling, although no, or start talking rather, because I started rolling and then I actually was quicker than I thought I'd be. I didn't come on screen for a couple minutes. Um, and he's just laying there just fine. I actually even brought his bag of a bag of treats over here with his outside jacket because that's the other thing. He usually G brings him for the walk in the morning, and it was lightly raining, but I mean he wasn't even downstairs to know what, unless he can sense it somehow, to know that it was the dog wasn't. And then yeah, it's just G got playing a bit of piano, and before you know it, had to leave for work. So, it's not the end of the world because, I mean, he gets a good amount of walks. Sometimes I join, sometimes I don't, but I can stand to do it. Right now, the area is kind of busy, the neighborhood, because it's morning and that, and it is raining. So I'm hoping that it lets up. It's 50% chance of rain today. So, but yeah, the dog's just acting strange, and I'm not sure what to think of it. And the only thing I can think of is the other day when he was out for a walk, he accidentally got um, what we believe, although I think he ended up swallowing it, but so I don't know why I got this impression. I just did. We believe it was a chicken bone that somebody had tossed, either driving or walking had tossed. Like, I would like to ask people not to do things like that, find the garbage, hold it in the thing that you got it in, or in a napkin or something until then, because, you know, if they choke on it or get it lodged, it's not a good thing, right? Thank you for the like there. However, he had been acting fine, and like G said, it's been about a week. Okay, there was two, now there's one, but it's been about a week. And today, like I say, I wouldn't say he's acting super sick, but he's acting odd. Anywho, so there's that out of the way. You'll notice in the title that I have some other mentions that we can talk about. Um, the first one that I'm going to say, and it could have so many different aspects to it. But just this concept, and I said it in the description too. When I come on here and I'm offering support to people, um, I don't know if some people think, well, then I'm going to be required to give it back, like they are, and you're not. Although it's always nice if there's a need, it's always a nice mutual, equal, feel better kind of. I mean, feel extra good kind of thing to do, right? I'm thinking of a program that I had been involved in, and I have to get back to them actually. I had to get. Oh, these looks like it. I had to get back to them. Oh no, okay. I have um to. They have a survey they want me to do, and I'm a little bit curious about it. I also am a bit curious about, I guess, the person who would be the HR, because usually they're quicker to reach, and I've been struggling. I'm supposed to actually hear from the guy that I'm connected with in this program today, I believe, but I know I didn't talk with him last week. There's a couple small reasons, and then there's a bigger another reason, which I believe I've mentioned on here before, but the people that see this video may not have seen that video, and I kind of remember that one being short and kind of quiet. That video, like I didn't say a lot in it basically, and you can weigh in about this, anything else that comes to your mind, and song requests as well. And yeah, basically, it's this kind of aspect of, it's flashing a bit top, but that's okay, of um, when somebody works at an agency and they're connected to you that way. It depends, I guess. Sometimes it works out, and it depends who's involved, I suppose. But basically, what I don't like is when they see you as the participant or as the client, therefore unable to give back. There is an agency here, although lately I've been a little bit annoyed with a a couple things, but that has hired clients, and I think that's very neat. Um, it's unfortunate it hasn't been me, but when I tried to apply, they weren't hiring at the time, and one of the excuses was they had lots of casual staff. In fact, one who wasn't as casual might be now, who I was quite familiar with, kind of gave me a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it. Uh, he's watching one, and then it's a different one. Anyway, where she said, "I'd have you come in tomorrow and start training and all that if I could, but I'm not the only one that makes the decision." It's like, and I wasn't entirely surprised, but it was like, well, thanks, you know. I remember saying, I wish she hadn't told me that. And she's like, I know, dear, I know. But she did, you know, she couldn't take it back. And it wasn't untrue either. Uh, but, and I mean, I might get recognized. I might, you know, you never know. YouTube's a big world. And yet, the world, YouTube and in general, it can be a small world sometimes. But sometimes I mean, it's great that they value lived experience, but sometimes their hiring procedures are a little bit, you know, it's great that they give everybody a chance, but then they don't really monitor things from there. Um, but I'm really curious what's going on at the top there because it looks like it only says a number, you know, as far as like viewing and that. Um, but it's been very active, flashing on and off one, occasionally two. Is there somebody having a connection problem, or are you trying to decide whether you want to be here? Or I hope you do. I hope that you know you get something from this, and we have a nice chat. Um, Anywho, so basically, but this other agency, so the guy, I'll just call him the guy. He said he was going through something, and I said, "Oh, anything you'd like some help with?" I mean, he did open up a little bit about his grandmother. Um, Not long after we met, actually, we weren't even that familiar with each other. Um, Passed away of cancer, and he was kind of going between two places. But other than that, no. So I said, "Anything you need help with?" And he's like, "No, not really." I said the phrase because you know I live to help, and I die. I sometimes feel like I'm dying if I don't get to. I don't know if he knew how real that statement was, but he says, and I started it off by saying, you know, I know this is a deep way to put it, but he's like, you know, it makes sense. Um, and I think I'd even said that particular time, you know, it's okay to have more than one person to get input from. Sure, it can make things a bit more messy and complicated, and if that's what he felt, he should have said it. You know, I would have somewhat understood. Um, but he pretty much just agreed and agreed, and then a week or two later, I talked with him, and he said something to the effect of, as he mentioned, he was struggling with his mental health, and I said anything, you know, I didn't say everything exactly the same, and I didn't say much, but I put the offer out there again. I don't even know if he thanked me, to be honest. You know, he just said, "Well, no, I mean, I talked to somebody else about it, and I'm doing okay now." I mean, great if you got past the thing, great. I'm sure there's something else though, you know. But and it made me think that whether either he utilized a counselor or just somebody else. But this morning I put it into an articulated thought where I wondered if it was because I was seen as the client participant in this connection that my ability to help felt less valid. I mean, maybe he thought, well, I don't want to make him do that. That's, you know, not his. I was going to say maybe he thought it was not my job. But then I don't think that matters. I think that we're all supposed to be here to help each other through this life and existence and make it easier for each other and make it enjoyable, you know, as best as we can. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, you know, I may not, you know, very actively work in the field, but I do some work in it, and you know, I'm partly glad that he didn't say, "Well, you're the client," though. So you know, but I do feel like maybe it was implied, and it's annoyed me ever since. you know, um, thoughts on that? Um, and yes, I'll contact them about that sort of everything too. Um, the only other thought that I have until people say theirs is kind of an interesting one. I think basically it's around the thought of, and I feel like I might want to turn on the light soon, but it looks okay on screen. It feels actually a little bit dark in person, but is around this thought of gaining familiarity with people, whether that's online or in person. When it's in person, especially, it's sometimes like I'm thinking of a series of workshops I've taken, and I might still involve myself at the center a bit, so I might still see some of them, and I know I won't be the only one that in 2 weeks, well, 1 week after this week, um, when that's finished, are going to wish it wasn't. It's like, we've started to get used to each other, enjoy being around each other, enjoy having this to come to. Um, that's something that I think I'm struggling with. And I know I'm not the only one in the group. But, will there be an opportunity at that last one, like to mingle or to I mean, I feel more of a connection with some than others at this point, but there's only been two, I guess. But I kind of was a bit familiar with some of them from something else. I think now so they're for both. But anyway, but that's what I wonder. I last week, like I say, was only the second week. Believe it or not, for those that are familiar with me, I was actually fairly quiet. Um, I listened. I don't know why I was fairly quiet. I experienced one of the weirdest things actually. About an hour or two before I left, I started to feel all stuffed up and drip. You know, like I had a cold or something coming on. But I thought there's only three of these. You know, I think a shower helped a little bit. I felt being outside and eating something also might help. Um, I guess if I had still been feeling that way, I could have maybe put on a COVID mask. But yeah, after being out and about for a little while, um, I felt better, and it hasn't really came back. So that was odd. But anyway, so it wasn't that. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Um, I mean, we were put into separate groups. And I haven't said where this is or what it is, but within the bigger group, and so that was nice to chat a little bit. But she didn't make me good eye contact. But the nice though, both of them. And then the other person sitting right beside her. Everybody's talking in different groups that they were put into for whatever it was. Um, I could barely hear her. She did. This might be unique, so I don't know if I should share it. And it surprised me and didn't make sense until I asked a further question, and then it sort of did. So, um, so yeah, I think she had said she wanted to learn guitar, but like not super seriously. What? But she's doing an interesting task, which depending on how much she's getting into it, and getting out of it, that might be the next step. But she might also know musical people. This one has been hard for me because I also, at this point in time in my life, I'm not super duper active in a lot of different things. I still kind of miss the Thursday group I used to go to, but it didn't feel right to keep going. The energy was off. Um, Something the leader did. Um, I'm still welcome there, but I mean, I don't feel like it's for me. It's an accessibility and affordability thing now. Um, yeah, I'll look into it though. Because yeah, but anyway, I talk about it sometimes. When I'm posting, videos saying I'm here for you, kind of thing, and that, if you need support or whatever. But it's really that thing of um, I think it's a very good, beautiful, powerful, important thing, and that's what it looks like. Somebody that was there for a few seconds till I finished that list. After like I don't like any of those things. No, they didn't say that, but and maybe they haven't left. It just looks like you have. Anyway, point of the matter is asking for support when you are struggling with something in your life. You're struggling to figure something out. You got something that's really stressing you out. That kind of thing. I think it's good to ask for the support and help them. I also think it's great to give it, like I say, and I also feel like there is so much power and validity in lived experiences and what you already bring to the table with your, for lack of a different way to put it, intelligence. You know, um, it does. I don't really feel like it matters what someone's background is, as far as like training for certain things, including counsel. I've got some background, but basically, there are a lot of people that have a counseling degree of some sort, and two things. They also still very much default, chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not, to just being human. You know, it doesn't make them like some super hero. You know, like when they see a client, they're having a conversation, they're relating to things that they've been through, or and I think that's and they may be some using some of their training, some of their experience in work, but I think they also aren't. Even if they think that, oh no, I'm not, I'm only going, I'm very by the book. I would study into that a bit though, because I mean, I think it's just very natural when you're having a conversation with someone to just have a natural conversation. Um, there was another point I was going to make. I'm trying to remember what it was now. Oh, that if they are either too by the book or too stuck in um, habit ways of working, it's not going to be a individual based approach. I think I am going to turn the light on though, not because it's necessarily dark on or hard to see me on the screen, but because it feels dark in the room. Good boy. You feeling okay? Yeah. Okay, good. You didn't say as much, but I hope so. um, yeah, basically this idea. Oh, also, yeah, I feel like it's not a good thing, especially in counseling or psychology, social work, those kind of fields. It's not necessarily a good thing to allow yourself to become tainted by the job. It's easy. It's easy for that to happen and understandable to a point. But again, if you allow yourself to say, "Oh, it's just another one of those going through this," so I'm now viewing it with this lens, as opposed to, but what's different based on this person's situation, and you know, because we're all more alike than we are different. And there's always, you know, but that being said, there are also, now we're different. There are also differences. You know what I mean? Um, you know, um, for instance, I'm not going to say who or anything like that. I don't like, I mean, but for instance, the difference between someone who has become a widow once and someone who has become a widow twice. Widow is part of that equation, but there's still that difference, right? This morning, I was a little bit worried because, like, um, G's sister has, G's brother hasn't yet, but might be passing away. Just gonna say that much about it. Then with the weird ways that the dog was being, it just felt like this morning was a little bit different. And it's also raining. Anyways, but then again, it says others bus. Um, um, you know, um, I don't really feel bad when they see how coming in from the rain. But it was just this morning, it just felt like, oh, is something going to happen? If he goes to work. Um, as in on the way. And then I saw a weird post. They seemed to be saying that the person stole a bike. I looked at it and thought, oh, maybe they just don't drive and that's just them with their shopping. And then they got into an accident, but it sounded like they fleed it. So, like they left the scene. So it's kind of like, when is that not odd? You know, maybe she thought, I don't know, I'm okay and people hate bike. A lot of people are against bikers. I don't want to give my information. Could have been. Could have been, really. I mean, there's different ways to look at things, right? And sometimes it's helpful to look at things from different perspectives, right? But for me, I think having there was something that if one of my subscribers, Crystal, tunes in, there was something I wanted to ask her. Oh, right. And if you see this, let me know in the comments. But this isn't a question for Crystal or anybody else who knows this song. The song is One More Light. And I'm slightly surprised with myself that when she was asking about it in, again, I'm just going to use a first name, Maxie's chat, I just said, oh, yeah, I might be able to do that. I recently learned it and that. And I told her that I covered it. I don't think she was going to check it out, but then she got into watching the one that I was doing then. And then her horse got loose. And I don't think she's gotten back around to it yet. But what I should have asked, it would have made so much sense to do so, is are you doing all right? Like, why? What's your connection with the song? You just like the band and you happened upon the song? Or, I mean, have you lost someone? Are you having those kind of thoughts? And if you are, please tell me. Okay, you're awfully young to be thinking like that, and I can't promise you, as the song says that came to mind when it says I can't promise a rose garden. I can't promise you uh, uh, a life. None of us can be promised a life free of struggle and full of only beauty. I mean, we should try and minimize struggle for ourselves and others. We should try and make living a beautiful experience for ourselves and others. But truthfully, we don't have full power on that. So for the younger generation, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, that life always feels worth it. But a lot of the times it does. Going through, although this hasn't been super noticeable around me, but going through what I mentioned, G on the GNC is going through lately with the siblings. Um, and to be expected in that call the other day, although it went quite well. But I have been struggling with, like, I've had lots of loved ones pass myself. I've dealt with depression myself, sometimes still. Um, I do not personally choose to numb it with medication because I know that it's situational. I know that medications have side effects. And I know that if certain things could improve, and it's not necessarily an easy climb, I'd be doing better. And then I'd have to worry about going off medication. I'm not saying people shouldn't take meds, but they are kind of chemicals. I'm sorry, not to sound like I'm being rude or judgy. I will never understand anybody who says I take a handful of meds or I take 3 or 4 different meds a day. You know, I think that most things, from my perspective, can be remedied in some sort of holistic manner, whether it's a hobby, talk therapy, plant based, whatever. Most things. But I won't sit here and say everything either, literally and in that context. Some things I think meds is the answer. So, but yeah, basically, but it's interesting because when I think of mentioning that and how, the depression, when you're around somebody that has grief, you think, okay, well, then you're both sad. Like what's but of course that's not pleasant. And the other thing is that sometimes I'm not. Like I say, all things considered, it hasn't been that hard. Like if he's been upset about, the goings on in the family, um, I would say it's been behind closed doors, but we live in the same home. Every now and then I will go upstairs, but he sometimes has music playing in that room, sometimes loudly. So maybe but I have pretty good hearing. I'm just not hearing it. I'm just, biking to work on a rainy day. Maybe that kind of has me feeling sad. Although it was doing pretty good this morning, but but yeah. So, but sometimes I'll be feeling all right, and it's kind of like, I don't really want to. I'm just gonna put the radio on and maybe turn the heat off for a moment. This video had, and I know this might sound weird on YouTube, but there's a lot on YouTube, and this video has had a lot of flashes at the top frequently. Um, Mostly ones at a time, occasionally two. It's just a little bit odd. Make sure chat is on. Yeah. But so yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say. I'm gonna wait to see if it clears up a little bit, and then possibly go for a walk. I mean, it's getting to be where it's not getting much warmer, although next weekend was still 15, 14 Celsius. But so far, that's what they're saying. But, and then also, yeah, I got some laundry to put in, and there was something else. Oh, right, I have to call about that survey. Yeah. But other than that, those things are not necessarily on a super specific timeline. The going out for the walk, does depend on the weather. The other things, not so much. But so I've got time to be here with you. And I do feel like it's entirely possible, I don't know for sure, but that somebody is trying to tune in and either is having technical difficulties or keeps getting distracted, whatever it is. So I'm going to keep rolling. We got 2 of you here. Um, and I guess what I'll say is what's kind of in the latter part. Whether you've heard anything up to this point or just tuned in, do you have any questions for me? And it looks like you would not, but I can't say for sure. Oh, and then it says 2 again. Together. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me about the topic? I don't want to say about anything and everything, but I'll decide when I see your question. Um, and song requests. Um, I'm thinking specifically, um, well, yeah, song requests. Just because it's always new people, I guess I can say not jazz, not blues, and not really into metal that much, and we can leave that at that. Hard rock, folk, pop, country, a little bit of rap, not really much, but a little bit. Um, so I'll let you kind of say hey and anything else on that, and then we'll go from there. I'm also wondering what kind of name is Jelly. Just saying. Just I saw that name earlier today. It apparently I've heard of Jilly, I think, and that's ironic because I thought of a Jill earlier this morning, and it isn't that much into the day yet. It looks like it might be short for Angela. To which, do I think it's weird to go as Jelly when your name is Angela or not? I mean, obviously Angela is a bit more common, but so part of me thinks, okay, be unique. Part of me thinks Jelly is just a very jamming type of name. Get it? um, I've made that joke in titles of my videos before. Actually, before it's like, yeah, let's jam and jelly. What's gin juice? You real boy. Hey, hey, like it's in that da 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 da. Mm, 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 mm. You and me. Anyway, that's a love song, kind of, sort of. It's only been 40 minutes, and I feel like I need to rush upstairs again briefly. But I don't really feel like getting all the things that I have to do. Well, not all of them. Next, at some point today, require getting up, and I'm sitting here doing this right now, and I haven't been here that long, so I kind of don't want to do that. So, um, I may or may not want to watch the rest of that, even though the volume wasn't very good. I want to look at that. Want to look at this. Hmm. Um, the other interesting topic we could add into this, if nothing comes to mind for things to say on this, is how we, as people, sorry, just a moment here, how we um, make experience, hold on to memories. Um, Whether they're something deep and, or just like things on the to-do list or things for, certain weeks or days of the week. Um, I think a lot of us don't trust that, or don't feel like we have a good memory for things, and we may actually have a better one than we think we do. But I mean, I'm one of those that I don't really trust that I do a lot of times. Um, and so, what does that look like? For each of us, that relate to that. Um, yeah. Mhm. I'm I'm also thinking I'll add into this. Nobody's here at the moment, but I'll add into this a question I heard of recently, and I had been. Oh, now there's two of you here. I've been thinking about putting into a podcast. It just came to mind now, so maybe this is the one and the time to do so, because I don't think I have yet. Um, Aside from any of this other stuff that we're talking about, and it looks like you both left, but whatever. What has That's more active with this one than any other podcast I've been. I'm not sure what's going on. I think I'm articulating well. I think I'm giving good vibes. So I don't know what's going on. Anywho, what is the most beautiful thing you've experienced in your life? And I would like to possibly tweak that question to say something perhaps to the effect of uniquely beautiful, because a lot of parents would probably say the birth of their kid. You know, that one feels obvious, which is why I kind of reword it a little bit. If that feels obvious that a parent would say that. So, and I'm not sure if comments are just not coming through or aren't being put, but I'm certainly curious. I feel like maybe someone's left because there's been a couple times where someone's left because they felt ignored. But if there's comments there other than the ones I put, I'm not seeing them. And if there isn't, let's try it out and see. There's somebody there for like 2 minutes. Like left. Just gonna quickly look at something here. I just looked up when I did that, but and somebody just tuned in. It's like, woo, and here we're back. Also, that feeling of whether you want to call it anticipation or just knowing that you have certain things to take care of, and whether you're trying to sleep or just distracted with something else or just not feeling like it stays with you, right? Until you take care of them. It doesn't even have to necessarily be big things. And the more things there are, sometimes not the merrier. You know what I mean? Which would be a great segue into saying, I hope I don't sound weird, but then I don't want to talk hugely about this, but there are people that have been counting down Halloween like a month and a half early. Not like almost feels like before the stores. Not that I'm in the line and get our groceries delivered, but um, I had the idea for a title. I'm really waiting for the first snowfall locally, but I think I'll make a few in the series titled something to the effect of "Let's make the holiday season happy or jolly," um, and then ask for song requests because that kind of music you pretty much only hear around Christmas time, and there's quite a bit of it, and some of it's quite lovely, right? So I'm looking forward to doing some Christmas tunes, but it still feels a little bit too early. After Halloween has passed, I think, um, uh, and making it joyous because I realize that for a lot of us, it isn't. Whether we're grieving, whether we don't have a close family, um, or we're living in a new place away from everybody, um, or those are the big reasons why I think I mean, aside from that, some may say it's stressful and you know, spend a lot of money, although you don't have to. Um, those are the big reasons I would think why people don't like it, or certain triggers maybe. But I will hope that most of y'all that see this will um, hear me do some Christmas tunes when I start to do them and hopefully enjoy that. In fact, one that I thought of doing, which I haven't done very much, and it's kind of like for the full season, and I would say quite specifically so, like in the lyrics. I don't know if I've done it very often. I'm not even sure what song it is, but I'll give a little sample, a little taste of it, and then you have to wait like 2 or 3 weeks to hear the rest of it. But the one that goes, Christmas time is here, time for joy and cheer, the da 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 that we will call the greatest time of year, wherever that goes. What's that called? Out of curiosity. There is, as much as I relate to some of the other stuff that I said, and so like I say, I like the music. I like the decor. The food's all right, although I'm a little bit picky. I'm not much actually of a turkey person, and I'm not even much of a ham person, to be honest. I'm just hammy. I think that I don't remember what that phrase means, but yeah, which reminds me of the other thing I kind of had on my mind this morning. I don't know why. I guess a couple times recently, but I don't know why it seems so strong this morning. But I think I figured that out. It was a bit unfortunate, actually. It was. We don't have to talk about this in the comments. I might just get it out just to get it out. But we have lots of other stuff we can talk about. Like I say, this is a shared channel with me and GNC, and I don't really need to, for that. But basically, I was thinking about here's yet another topic. Um, but again, like I say, only if people catch it live, and if you need to talk with somebody about it, hopefully you find someone to do so, or you can look up the theme online and find somebody that way, perhaps. But I'll just let it out just because I will. Staying friends with exes. My most recent one, I'm kind of surprised that I'm not, to be honest. At the same time, she was in a different country, quite into alcohol, and how it all unfolded, I'm not surprised. But what I believe would be my first one was someone I went to high school with, and then I moved after graduation. And we'd only been together about a month, a few months probably at that point, and then we lasted for a couple of years. And the only reason why we, not, is because of the distance, really. Although I don't know if it would have worked in the long run, to be honest. I found out something that there was something else I thought of this morning, and I can't remember what it was, but it's like, oh, I think I do remember, but whether I want to talk about it, yeah, maybe, actually, maybe, but I might want to wait till there's somebody here. Or do I? Basically, there was a guy I went to high school with. I don't know if he went to my grade school, but high school for sure. And I mean, I guess I didn't. I knew that he liked it, but I never played them with him. And I guess he didn't make it super duper obvious. So I mean, and it was kind of like, well, he hung out with the other people I wanted to hang out with. So I wasn't going to say I'd rather he not, and I wasn't going to say I don't want to. But we didn't do video games, and it was interesting because this morning I thought to myself, I don't know if that phased me when I was young, because I didn't realize as much about the world and what the world could be like. And I do feel like there is some connection a lot of the times to that kind of thing. Um, but I came this close to reaching out, as I said, not just to stay as contact. And like I say, there's another thing that I was that may have been in that school, but who was oh right. Although sometimes I think it's mislabeled. I mean, just because like you're said to be on the autism spectrum, for instance, then you're put into a category, or sometimes people are put into a category that I don't really think quite fits that. Like it's a bit um I don't know how to word it, but anyway, so I thought about reaching out to her, and we can talk about anything in the title, anything you're seeing in the comments there, although I've already spoke about some of them. And this one's just been a bit quieter. I think there's been a couple people that have been here and wanting to stay here and say something, but there's been some connectivity issues. Just with how fast it was, like saying one, and then a few seconds, it would go after a few minutes, and it's like, okay, they seem like they wanted to be here, and then a minute or two later, they're back for a few minutes. And anyway, um, I wanted to reach out to her. I kind of feel like I have in the past. For a while, I was actually connected to her mother, but and we lived in different places, like I say, but we didn't talk a ton. And she seemed to be fine with that. I can mind remember a little bit, but we never really made the connection. She's actually a motivational speaker, art therapist, and such. Sounds like she's doing quite well for herself. I haven't found a lot about her, but I also haven't looked either that much. A little, but not much. But the reason why I decided not to, aside from that, so far it hasn't happened, and that was like when I first moved to where I live now. So that was, well, minus the 2 years we were together, that must have been about 17, 18 years. Hard to believe. Really, I can't believe it's been that long, but it has. But I thought, if she's still connected with some of the people that I hung out with in high school, that was another question I was going to ask, actually, is what do you think of the concepts of high school reunions? Would you go to yours if you had one? Unless, of course, you're in high school now, and then you're like, I still go to my school. But I'm in a different province. Not super easy for me to travel financially and stuff. The school moved. And I don't know if I would. I joked to myself earlier, I'm not that interesting, or I'm not doing anything that exciting, because that's something you look to hear about with when you go to such a thing. Oh, what are you up to these days? What kind of work are you doing? Well, unemployed at the moment. It's like I mean, and it happens, but judgment can come with that, right? um I'm otherwise fairly happy with my life. They can say, oh, I'm a YouTuber, I post content, if you want to check it out. And I mean, it would seem silly not to mention that, although I don't think he'd see this far in. I really don't. I think they've got a couple young kids, and he works, and I really don't, think he'd see this far in. And if he's seen any sense and not said anything, then I don't know what to think about that. But I'm just going to quickly check something for a moment here. Um, but it's that thing of there'd be some you'd want to see and some you maybe wouldn't, right? And so, all those reasons, like the concept, but I wouldn't go. um, Actually, doesn't even show that anymore. I don't know. Oh, so if he's seen things, he hasn't disliked it to the point of liking me, but he also hasn't said anything. So maybe he hasn't seen anything that I posted. Well, I'd kind of like to do some other things. I was really hoping to have some nice chat and maybe do some music, but I guess not this morning. I am just going to quickly check something though. Yeah, but then you have to have people that would donate. And then you start to get drawn. Like, what if they donate and then don't get drawn? Some people say, but what if you did? It's like, um, but yeah, that's an interesting concept when you think about it for a moment. When we say, uh, um, I hope somebody was listening just then because I got distracted. Um, I was looking at, yeah, I got distracted, and now I forgot what I was saying. um, So can you help me out on that? Or do you have another question for me? Or thoughts based on what you're reading here on this video or hearing? Um, the only other thing I can think of to mention then, you know, um, and then there is the thing of feeling like you can check things off the list. G made a to-do list recently. Doesn't seem to do that very often, and was getting things done quite well, quite rapidly. And I'd like to have that feeling. So since I have some particular things, even if none of them are urgent, I can take care of a couple after this, and then maybe have some lunch and do the other thing. You know, the only other thing I can think of to ask, so I'm just thinking something in my head that doesn't necessarily need to be in here. Nothing bad or anything, but the only other thing is that this question that I have of, let me just word it exactly how I wrote it here. Does anyone, okay, sorry, that's the wrong one. I'm going to keep that there just because anybody that comments it said, oh, I can say, oh, by the way, I did this really neat cover of this, utilizing that. How do you read through news, sports, and games and such when you want to find smaller live streams by average Joes and Jodies? I said, I'm thinking back to someone from high school now, speaking of that. She was very hyper, very popular with the guys and maybe some other girls. And yeah, it seems to only show, I honestly think, look, he was a problem. I mean, she had a nice smile, but I think it was just because she was just, it's not that other people weren't nice. There was this girl, she actually ended up being younger, but before then, I think was even very popular. And again, my smile was nice, but I mean, I guess some people knew her better than I did. That must have been what it is. Anyway, how do you find, um, like just because when I click the live tab, uh, you know, on YouTube in general, I see, yeah, like I say, so many sports, gamers, um, news, so therefore politics as well. And only very rarely do I see like just I, I do and don't feel like I want to call myself average, but just your average live streamer. And I want to know, how do you find them? I mean, I guess sometimes doing a certain search, they might just pop up. Certainly, like I said, doesn't seem to be in the live tab. So I'm curious about that too. Um, yeah. We have someone that's been here for about 2 or 3 minutes, I think. Welcome to the channel. If you'd like to say if it's your first time here or how you came, and how you came across this channel, if it is, but you left. Some people don't seem to like that question. I think it's a decent question, personally. So I'm going to keep asking it, till it sticks. um, but yeah, I guess I'll use this moment to also say that I don't have any other podcast ideas for today. Like the things that I want to take care of, they might not take super long. The other things I got to do, maybe 20, 30 minutes each. Well, the laundry, you just put it in and then you wait for a while, and then you put it in the other one, right? So, um, I don't have any other podcast ideas. I mean, sometimes they just kind of seem to pop, come to me out of thin air. But I'm also open to suggestions for, there was another like demands. Like, yeah, open to suggestions for what you'd like to see. me talk about and sing about? And I would add to that question, if you're able to do so, what you'd even pay to see me do, talk about, perform, possibly do in general. Because who am I to say no to money? And it might be a lot of fun. So to do it. I mean, I don't have a lot of needs. It's the basic needs with the money, but it's the more you're making and the more often, the easier it is to save. I don't know what was that article, but yeah. So that's always a good thing to do with it too, right? So, um, other than that, um, I'm hoping to get out for some more bike rides before we get snow. Not too sure if it'll happen, but and I do have my plan Wednesday. But that's yeah, it's kind of a slow week for the most part. Well, even though sometimes it takes about an hour ish before people come in and start chatting and things start to pick up uh, with this. Like I say, the number's been dancing fairly frequently at the top. Um, but and to keep rolling, I would need the motivation. I would need the conversation at this point because I put a lot into this, and the person left, which is not motivating and it's not conversation. And if you didn't leave, it just looks like you did because that happens sometimes. It's like it'll say one person, then it'll say no, and it's like, oh, you left. They're like, I didn't leave. I'm here. Okay, cool. Blah blah. How are you? Blah 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 blah. Hour later, no, just kidding. Sometimes though, sometimes when I'm watching these back with G, I'll say I can. I'll go for another like 20 or 30 minutes. It's like, well, actually, it was closer to an hour and a half. But yeah, you know, when you don't have when you're not as busy and you got the extra time, it happens, right? But um, and I'll say this much. I almost clicked wrap up, but somebody tuned in, and I feel like maybe that is meant to be, and hopefully you will feel so as well. Now it's just to find out why it was meant to be or how it was meant to be. Something that the titles. I'll just finish saying it just in case you haven't left. The title says, or the comments at the side say, or something that you really want to ask, whether it's your first time seeing me or not, or really want to say, as long as it's kind, respectful, and doesn't seem like spam or trolling, I'm cool with it for the most part. It looks like you left like it was going to be trolling. It was going to be spam, but since you asked nicely, no, just kidding. What's always amusing is when you well, not but slightly amusing is when you see spammers spamming spammers. I don't really want to wrap up on that note though. But spam makes me think of ham. No, I don't want to. I don't want to say that joke. Or do I? It's kind of amusing, but no, I don't think so. Not here. Not here. Not now. But if you have a question for me, put it in the chat. I'm hoping the chat's working. I'm doing this the way I always do it, so it should be. And yeah. 2-1. I'll be right back in just a few moments. So I'll give you an opportunity to write and send something through. Don't be too critical of yourself, and you don't have to try and get it all in one comment. I know that can only be so many characters long. So if you get to that and you're like, oh, I still had so much I wanted to say, I guess I have to you likely won't be able to get it in one. So send it in more than one. And I'll be right back. Look forward to hearing from you. I'm back. Just kidding. Still kind of gray and still kind of early, I think. you ever hear me talking when I'm not on screen in the video? It's not that I'm talking to somebody else in the house. I'm talking to me and I'm talking to you. Or the dog. And, if it stays gray out, or mostly gray, I might try and doze out later because I had to get up for routine reasons, but otherwise didn't, but I'd also slept a good number of hours. So I believe there was somebody here when I got up and left, and it's saying there's somebody here now. Without a comment, I can't say whether it's the same person or not, but you can. And you left. So I'm thinking maybe not. They're like, maybe it wasn't the same person. Oh, but then it came back with two right away. I was going to say, maybe it wasn't the same person. And they're like, how can I say? I don't know if it was or not. But I was meaning to say, if it was, then you would know if it was you. You know what I mean? Because I've pretty much said all I can think of to bring into this. So now it's general question, it's song request, it's, which I think makes it obvious that I'm a musician, and it's anything that comes to mind based on this topic and the stuff that's been said here. And even if you didn't see most of it, there's a little bit I put in the chat. This one's just been a little quieter. Some of them are. So you can see that there. Other than that, if there's something you really want to talk about, get off your chest, something you're struggling with, just something you want to talk about, I'm here for you. But let me just go check my messages elsewhere. Just kidding. Well, until they come in here, yeah. But it's not like I get a ton of them, but I get some. I do all right. Could do better, but I do all right. Really? I hadn't noticed that. So, the other thing we could talk. Oh, we got 3 of you here now. Wow, cool. And out of the 3 of you, I would hope and think that one of you should not be shy, possibly even 2. The other thing we could talk about is like just life in general, life and even maybe the afterlife. I don't know. I know that media sometimes portrays that in such a way where it's either makes a lot of people uncomfortable or just believe kind of false things. But I would love to also just say to myself, okay, I'd like to do this song. So whether you say anything or not, you're here, you're sticking around. I do appreciate that. I'll just go do a song. Unfortunately, I've not been good at that lately. Thinking of songs to do, I've just not been able to. Just like a big blur in my head. There's just so many different songs. I'm just looking at ones I did on the weekend, or one I did on the weekend that I forgot to close, which is a kind of unique, gentle sounding Aussie song. And I think I even dabbled a little bit with one of his other ones, which is possibly more well. But then again, I don't follow a lot of his music. So the other one may have been very well known as well. I only just recently learned it. But because I recently did it, I kind of feel like, do I want to do it again? It's very ironic that somebody else, I'll plug this because it's in the title, I'm pretty sure, of the video I did it in. Somebody asked me if I would cover George Strait's, what was the song? I keep thinking the other country one I did, but that's not what this one was. And if you're familiar with me, or even if you're not, I'd love to hear from you. What the heck was it called? Carrying Your Love with Me. And it was so ironic because just a week or two prior to that, I'd covered that song. I've heard it on the radio a little bit. I don't think I'd ever played it. Decent enough song. But when she asked it, or like that One More Light song, it was kind of like, I did it recently. Go listen to where I already did it. It's not that I don't want to do the same songs, more than once ever on here. But when it's like recent, it is kind of a feeling I have about it. I mean, and he might even be rolling soon because sometimes he has been in the morning. But like um Maxie, he does some songs every single stream. Um and it's true. It's true. Some people like that. To me it's like, oh, it's that song again. I mean, I'm not trying to put him down or anything, but like one of his songs has the word sick in the title, and I'm a little sick of it, to be honest. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't do that really with any music that I like. I don't listen to it like every day or on repeat. That's an interesting, curious question, though. I've asked it similarly before. What song describes your life or means a lot to you? Another way of asking it could be, what's a song you listen to every day? Whether, better yet, intentionally, not just, oh, I hear it on the radio every day, but what's a song that you intentionally, if there is such, because I'm sure lots of people do that. Like I say, I don't. Um, that it's like your go-to song. Whether it's when you're feeling a certain feeling or just like this is part of my day. Put it in the chats, and if I know it, I'll cover it, and you'll get to hear my version today, whether you hear the original or not. I quite love that question. I'm just saying. Okay, a song title can only be so long. Just kidding. You're like supercalifragilistic. How's this thing spelled again? XPL. Super Kellogg's. Oops. The question was, to the two that just tuned in, what's a song that you listen to almost every day intentionally? That's where we're at with this podcast now. So put it, we can talk about it, I can cover it. It'll be lots of fun. And if there's more than one, no, if there's more than one, put more than one because I might not know or feel one of them. So give me some options if you can, if you think of more than one. Like I say, that doesn't help me decide myself what ones to do because I don't really do that. I don't know if I ever have. Thinking back to high school, though, not to be distracting rambling, but thinking back to high school, I did then. I did then. I'm late 30s, and I had a Walkman that I used with CDs, those things. Circle with a, anywho. And dare I say, one of the ones I listen to quite often. I even think Spencer did too. I don't know why I think that, but I do. Dare I say. It might be good to do some of theirs, but for some reason, some people don't like them. Any guesses of who I'm talking about? Especially when I say I don't know if my age really gives a clue to it, though, or my age range. Um, it's not, okay, this might give a good clue, though. It's not that his vocals being a little bit gravelly. So a lot of people like that kind of stuff, right? So that's not, I don't know why they're not popular. Well, they are. They certainly are. They've certainly done very well as a band. But a lot of people don't. But you know what? Maybe I'll look. Maybe I will look into that since it came to mind, because then I can take it to the new keyboard, add a different stylization to it, do my version of it, and maybe find someone say, "Well, I don't usually like to be announced. To I was almost said it, but I don't know if I should yet. And it's like, but I liked your version. Could happen, folks. Could happen. So let me see here. Um, just what window? You know what? Not a window. I'm going to use the tablet. I think because even though I have a few options, don't like anyone. Um, so I've got some music ideas. You're welcome to give me some. There's a part of me that feels like being a little musical. Like I say, sometimes you roll for more than an hour, and then that's when the person that wants to chat is either able to or tunes in and wants to. Um, you know, I've seen it happen. And in fact, looking briefly at Maxie's chat and thinking about a couple of my followers, um, although one was here for almost the whole thing recently, um, there's one I'm a little bit worried about because she hasn't been in his in a while, and she usually is, and she hasn't been in mine in a while. Sometimes she's in mine because I'm in his, and I happen to mention I'm going to be rolling soon. But but I think there's been once or twice where that's not been the case, and she's just tuned in. I don't know how to. I'm thinking I might. Uh, I'm gonna just okay. I'm just gonna check something for a moment, just to see if in a different tab. Um, I don't know what's with this resume thing, but okay, just a moment here. There was something I wanted to look up under that one, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, I've got to look at that later, though. I've got to look at that, and that is somewhat intriguing. And that might explain what's going on here. And that makes me think of the Thursday group. Put your head on my shoulder. What is it? What this thing? This concept? If you're seeing this on this date, you know. That being said, if you're seeing this, you meant to see it. Let's chat. um, no, that window doesn't seem to say I'm missing anything. Also, remember to like and subscribe. The likes seem to work, but hopefully the chat does too. What of these songs do I want to do? And if there's a song you listen to often, daily, intentionally, whatever, feel free to suggest it. And anything else that comes to mind. And I'm going to play one or two, I think, to round this off. And again, I know that some people really love this band, some people don't, but in some ways, that's like any band. But for some reason, it's fairly well known um, that that's the case. And like I say, I'm not entirely sure why. So if you like them, tell me why you like them. If you don't, tell me why you don't. Uh, Same with about me and blah, blah, blah. But shall I just say it? Or shall I give a clue? So shall I say the band name in different words and see if you figure it out, if you haven't already? Tell me how to go about this, and I'll do it. Um, that being said, maybe I won't do them because I'm just seeing one of their titles, and that's kind of a little bit meh. However, I'm seeing one right under this that might be a little bit suggestive, for the day. Huh. Or even maybe for this very moment. And this might be a clue in itself. Um, yeah, I don't hate his music. I will hope that black people won't mind a white person doing this kind of music. That's what I'm not sure about. But white people sing all the time, like we don't have to see race in it necessarily. I could do these in order. I'd love for this to help. Not that I don't have some ideas, but to help kind of dictate the day, which would look like I play some Bob Marley songs if you have a request. Then I do something that some people may or may not think I should say on here. I'm just looking at the lyrics of this song. But I don't think I'd do it anyway because I'm not proficient enough with it that I'd. And it sounds like it's pretty heavy. And yeah. I don't know if I'm drawn to doing that. And then it says I'm down with hanging out this afternoon. I love that lyric. That's an unfortunate thing that some people do. They cash the bottles and cans to buy more. So, to the two people that just tuned in now, things have been a little quiet, and I think there's been some glitches maybe too. Would you like to hear me do some Bob Marley? Would you be open for that? Would you like to hear me do something else? Just looking at these lyrics. Like, this is kind of funny. The landlord says I should buy a tent, but he can, because I paid my rent. I also find it very cool. And if you think of any of these, feel free to let me know on this too. Songs that mention other songs in them, I think is a neat concept. Like that one that I've done sometimes. And I wonder if I should try and do it. And it is a very heartfelt, gentle type of song. But I wonder if I should try and do it in, and I do and don't think it's very popular, but I think you'd like it. You might relate to it. Maybe I'll do that and I'll take it to the new keyboard and stylize it with a different genre. That could be fun. Um, but yeah, this song, maybe you'll know what it is. It mentioned Bob Marley and CCR. Uh, but the one I'm thinking of actually mentions a number of songs, which might even be inspiration on itself. So let's do that. Ugh. Just want to make sure I have my water. And this, and this. And I thank you for being here and patiently waiting for me to get to the keyboard. And, oh, looks like you left. Take it all back then. Hello, Sonny. You good boy? You're laying in the opposite direction now. Whoops, but it looks like you came back, so that's cool. We're just heading over to the keyboard. We got two of you here. I'm doing this with a laptop and a couple other things in my hand. But we will get started here in just a moment with a song. Maybe I should plug it into my browser so before I forget what song I'm thinking of. And I feel mixy about it, but I mostly like it. It's true. When it's not very sunny out, there's not a lot of light in this room. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. I appreciate it. And it is like, but yeah, it looks like it's sunny out. The way the window is showing it, but it actually is a cloudy, rainy day out. Okay, so I switched this over because he is older, but doesn't mind that doesn't have a back. But I am younger and have back issues and do mind. And it's bright enough in here, but I'd like it brighter, I think. Oh, right, that's right. We do have this light upstairs here. There we are, and then there's light, folks. Light potion. I'm sorry, that's just a bad joke on my part. Just forgot one other thing over here. All the leaves that come in this time of year. So, and actually the songbook that he has here may or may not have some good suggestions in it too. I don't know if my good is right now. Okay. So, I think we put this over here. I'd like to put something under it, just in case it sticks to the leather of the bench. I used this the other day, and I'm using it today. Oh, just a moment. Just a moment. Yes, we do have people moving it together. Okay, sorry, we just have a piece of art there, and it's not that it's bad, but I find it distracting, and you might as well. So I've covered it. Hey, getting settled in here. Now, do you have a favorite genre? If you have a favorite genre, whatever songs I end up doing, or the next song I end up doing, I could do in that genre, even if it isn't otherwise. I'm fairly new with this device, so let me see if I can even get that happening. So we go style, then we go accompaniment on and off, main, and then we scroll through the styles. Let's see here. Be also kind of fun to get you to guess the styles. For some reason I heard that song when I did that. And to be fair, 2 people left that time, and it did seem like I didn't know the lyrics because I hadn't intended to do that song. It's like one of these built-in ones. The outro sounds a lot like an Elton John song, not just because it's piano. I'm not sure which song it was, but I thought that the other day. That was Bubblegum Pop, whatever that means. I think I've heard of it, but it didn't really sound like it, eh? I liked this one the other day for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I do. It's a very story song, so I'll wait till someone's here. That is a little interlude thing. I didn't think that this device had that, but it does. That's very repetitive. I'd like to kind of start. But it's a very story song. And we're an hour or something in. And if I don't wait till someone tunes in, they might never hear this. Not just enough for me to do it. So where are you? That number's been moving quite actively. There we go. Now, one thing, I'm just going to stop this for a moment. One thing is I am going to do this from the side, I think, because when I'm doing it on the cell phone, that one is too wonky and probably should be plugged in, to be honest. And the other one isn't at home right now. And I can't put the laptop on the keyboard. So, actually, I could move it a little bit closer. I suppose. That's as best as I can do, though. So, all right. Never was the biggest, never was the biggest or the fastest guy. I never hit a home run when the game was tied. I knew from an early age I wasn't gonna be a doctor or a CEO of anything. Not sure if I like the style. I hate to interrupt it, but I don't know if I like the style choice. It was a little bit boring, I thought. Kind of worked for the song, but I'm looking to get creative. Hip hop light. Never was the biggest or the fastest guy. Never hit a home run when the game was tied. Tempo. Up. We're getting there. Just kind of takes a bit to figure things out on this keyboard. Do I like that, or do I find that one a bit boring too? What about you? I can go back to it, but let me see if I can find a different one. I know there's been a couple people here, but then again, there's been a couple people here for a few minutes at a time before too with this one. And they don't think they like, they don't say anything. What up, buddy? Let's try this one. I think this is the one I did Macarena for recently. Now, I can play piano, but I have fun with this stuff too. And I'm really just following the chords on the music. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. Let's do this. Why does that sound so off? Pause for a moment. This is a keyboard. It can't be auto-tuned. I think this version sucks. Let me find a different version. Oh, that one starts in a D, but then it's a different note. D doesn't sound right. And I've played this song before, and it sounds just fine. I might have to get the guitar if this keeps up. I think I will. I don't know what's going on with that. But then I can't use the stylizing in the keyboard. For some reason, it's really warm over here. I don't really know why. I'm just going to open this Forbidden Fresh. Oh, right, put that. It's a very unique song. Where is the guitar? Which one do I want to use? I kind of more leaning towards this one. Here we go. Another one just sounds so old, and the strings are And the other. I haven't been on the guitar in a while. It feels like, and it actually doesn't just feel like. I don't think I have. So, what does a D sound like on here these days? Sounds more right there. So I know it's a guitar website, but usually you can use any instrument, but not with this song apparently. I mean, he does kind of have a bit of a deep voice, but I don't think that's got anything to do with much, really. And I feel like I've done this on the grand piano actually. Would have pulled up the music the same way, and it sounded fine. But I guess it's good to get on the guitar again. So here we go. If you have any song requests, a song that you listen to every day intentionally or almost every day, or just, I'm put more than one just in case one doesn't stick for me or one I don't know or whatever. I really have to watch that one because I'm curious. Is that what's open right next to this? It's a very story-based song, though. Like some songs, you can almost get away with because they're so popular already. I don't know if this one is or not. And also, they don't follow a progression. Like you can tune in it, but this one kind of does. So I want to wait till there's somebody here. I have anemia, by the way, so my lips get very sensitive, would be the word, if I don't use this stuff. And I don't understand it. You can play a song. Okay, here we go. Okay, song request, welcome. Never was the biggest or the fastest guy. Never hit a home run the dream was high. You from an early age I wasn't gonna be doctor or a CEO or anything. But I said she believed in me. The fire on the mountain to my country. I love you, and it was everything, but I couldn't think of anything to say. So I say, it's on the best part. Worked every time, they worked overtime. You just got home. Asked if I would speak, but there's just no words to say how much it means to me. So I sang, it is well with my soul. Played I'm so tired of being alone. Don't put the sacred song, what I thought was to take too long to say. So I sang. Now, when I've looked at this song before, I've not really noticed. Like I say, I noticed that there's been other songs in it, but I've never thought. I don't know. Oh, right. I'm not going to play that one here. Faithfully, I'm tempted to. It is well with my soul. I don't know if I know that one. I don't know that one. So there's 4 songs mentioned in that song. Can you think of any other songs that mention songs in them? But yeah, those flashers. I don't know if it's the same person all the time, but they're really starting to... Like I said, there might be a glitch. I went briefly to the news feed actually, and I noticed that it said that there seemed to be one video I haven't watched yet because I'm rolling this, which said that there's been some glitches with some certain social media apps. I still have that one thing will revert back, but so that might mean with this one too, or with YouTube as well. I don't know. I do have a songbook here. It's not super long, so I sort of want to look through it. But if you do have requests, feel free. Say. I don't really like the theme of this one song that I was looking at that much. Plus, I don't know if I could really relate to it right now. So, that's kind of important. I think that's kind of a very similar question to what the other one I asked. But what's a song you really relate with right now? Is another way we could put it. I'm also looking through this book a little bit, which is not as specific. It's just random. Yeah. Somebody, I think Maxie's was asking about that one recently. But unless somebody asked about it specifically this time, then I'll say, okay, meant to be. I don't think I'll do that one. I actually don't know quite a few in this book. It's not one I bought. There is this one, but it's a bit of a thing, and I don't know. Appreciate your patience, and I appreciate both of you being here. I'm probably not going to roll super much longer, but if you'd like to hear a specific song before I wrap up, I can do so. This one would be maybe fun to kind of put into its own, like change the genre up a little bit. I don't know what that is stuck on the screen. Almost looks like it's wedged under the plastic, but okay, so if I go, how did I do this again? Style. The numbers pick. Our noses, just kidding. So this is going to be Rhinestone Cowboy. All right. Which actually I wouldn't say sounds all that country. But I'm also having fun myself. I mean, it would be great if somebody else was joining me, but I'll get to the things. I'm actually thinking I might want some fresh air after this. Possibly, maybe, because I'm kind of warm. This is a genre or a style I've never heard of, called Ibiza. And let's try it with this song. Some people may say, oh, that didn't sound right at all. It's not supposed to sound like the original. This is the thing. But that does not mean at all. That just means it doesn't sound like the original. As much as the original. Okay. Let's give it a try. Tempo down a bit. That's up. Okay, let's try it. Just in case the drum beat's loud too. I'm so nice, aren't I? These streets so long. Singing the same old song. I know every crack on the dirty sidewalks of Broadway, where hustle's the name of the game. liking the drum beat enough to say that that's the style I want to do it in. Plus, Dream Dance, this is called. Part of me likes that, part of me didn't. It's nice that each time I look at these, I see ones I didn't see before, like I scrolled too far. Some reason that's called garage. Don't tell me why. I mean, don't know why. UK pop really sound that different than regular pop? Or taste that different? That's a hip hop group? Really? 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 It's a hip hop group. Really? 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 It's a hip hop group. Really? 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 It's a hip hop group. Really? Really? It's a hip hop group. Don't mind me. Actually, do mind me, for goodness sakes. His podcast is so much fun. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Feels better already. 1, 3. This is what Saturday night sounds like on a Monday morning where I'm at. And a little bit of a fusion creative style of a rhinestone cowboy. I'm gonna try it. We'll see. If you have any requests, give them to me. Here we go. Here we go. You may have laughed. I don't know. But here we go. Please come. Please come. Don't mind me. Tell me. Here we go. So long. Singing the same old song. I know every crack on the dirty sidewalks of Broadway. Hustle's the name of the game. Away like the snow in the rain. There's been a load of compromising on the road to my horizon. I'm getting there, the lights are shining on me like a rhinestone cowboy riding out on a horse and a star-spangled rodeo. Rhinestone cowboy, this is rhinestone. Getting cards and letters from people I don't even know. Offers coming over the phone. Oh yeah. This actually sounds like it fits it quite well. And then it's and then I didn't do the other verse because this book, like this one I understand because there's like 6 verses. And it's interesting. Okay. And see, when I talk about this topic, I'm not saying what it says in brackets here. But this particular song is not the one I thought it was. Seems to be a theme song, but it's got 6 verses. So I can understand it with this one, but that one that only had 2, they could have put the second one underneath and lined it up with the chorus. They put it at the bottom of the other page, not lined up. And so I didn't think I'd be able to figure that out in the moment to do the second verse. Hopefully that makes sense. It almost also makes me not a fan of this particular book, but I'll look at the rest of it because there's not much left. This is interesting. It's got Stairway in here, which has about 3 or 4 verses, I believe. And does it have a chorus or just a bridge? Either way, it's got all of them on 2 lines, unless it's not the full version. Some books I have, I know that they don't have the full versions of songs, and it's a little stupid. But this book I'm not super familiar with, and I don't think it's like that. But when I saw that, it kind of made me think maybe it is. Could play a little bit of Name That Tune. I'm play a little bit of Name That Tune. I'm going to make it a little trickier by changing the style a little bit, making it disco. Maybe. Definitely going to have to adjust the tempo. Oop, that's bringing it up. Let's bring it down. Yes, I'm musical as well, but I'm having fun with this, so hope that you enjoy it as well. Kind of boring. That's boring. They call that disco? The disco ball would fall out of boredom with that. How is that disco? That kind of works. That kind of worked for the song. And I just realized something else, so I think I'm going to not do more with that one. But just the person that, their band name, I'm so about. But man, the chords were very simple for that song, that's for sure. Okay, I'm getting near the end of this book, so I need 1 or 2 more song requests. And yeah, if it's more the other part of the topic than the doing music part that you came to this video about, we can spend a few moments because I'm nice and I cater. But it looks like you may have left. If you didn't, maybe you got afraid of my hat hair, which I can understand. But I am going to wrap up soon, do a couple other things, and head out briefly, probably as well. So I might do that. I don't feel like I spent a lot of time on the keyboard or really got super into it. But I don't have any ideas coming to me at the moment. I'm not being given any. So I think it makes sense to wrap her up then. That's it. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, Abe Lincoln. Yeah, and even in this few moments of thinking it, nobody else is tuned in, so. Trying to tell if that's rain or wind out here. I think it's both. But I do have something else I could go do, and then something else after that, and then lunch and other things to watch, and we'll see what the weather's doing then, I think. So, piano off, live stream wrapping up, and take care, everybody. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Although, I will say this. Sometimes numerology speaks to me. Even those sometimes when viewers don't. And at the moment, it is speaking to me. It's not saying much other than don't wrap up yet. But maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a season. The Four Seasons. Do I know any of their stuff? Now I'm curious. Sounds kind of neat. Remember it's open because it's open. Or because I can hear it. Yeah, and because it's open. Okay, well, I did that song recently. Yeah, this isn't that much like Jerry's, but it's similar. I think maybe the only difference might have actually been that it was black. I see people going by. See, the dog's being very unlike himself. He's barking, but he's staying at the chair that he's on. I know a lot of people would say get into a vet, but that's expensive. We don't drive. I think there's more rain in the forecast. And I don't know if he's quite serious enough to have that concern. Well, I'm kind of turned out by one of their song titles, so yeah. If it wasn't raining, who would be letting the dogs out? Me. The dogs out. Ooh. Sounds like who let the owls out more. Can't believe I never thought of that before. I mean, it's going to be wet out, regardless of when I go out. It's just a matter of if it's going to be pouring or not. I know he has to, but he's not. If he was really bugging me to, I'd bring him out. But he's not. So I'd rather wait to see if the rain lets up as opposed to using an umbrella. And at the moment, I'm not even sure if I know where a good one. Oh, yeah, they're both. But if it's windy, then, umbrellas are a little bit redundant. I don't know if it is or not, but. So I do feel, though, that the person who just tuned in right now, you're meant to be here and you left, so maybe not. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm meant all right. Not meant conditioned, but I'm meant. I know, play on words. Word on play. I just thought of a song, but I don't know if I should do it in here, and I don't really know if I really know it well enough or would want to. But it has something I said made me think of it. On film. On film. Who does that song, though? I'm curious. Now that I'm thinking about it. If you have a song request, if there's anything on this topic that I posted about that you'd like to talk about, if there's a curious question you have for me about life, about me, I might be willing to answer it. You're like, you keep looking like a fly or something. Just kidding. No, I'm looking here, I'm looking there, I'm looking here, I'm looking there, I'm looking here, I'm looking here, I'm looking everywhere. But no, I mean, it seems to be working otherwise. So it's just been weirdos. Just been confusing people. Really? Huh, okay. No, I don't think I want to do their songs, but that's funny because I've heard of that band 2 days in a row now. And the other song that I heard, I didn't know was them either. There's also a song. What was that one? It's a really odd band name. And I don't remember much about the song, but I'm going to look it up and see. And maybe I'll even know some of their other ones. Because I think I had heard of them before. Not just Harvey Milk. I think I've heard of this band before. Oh, right. That was the one. No, don't think I want to do that either. Well, I think I wrap this up now. Take care. Bye for now. 207 30.